Which choice most effectively uses data from the table to complete the statement? Over the past 200 years, the percentage of the population employed in the agriculture sector has declined in both France and the United States, while employment in the service sector, which includes jobs in retail, consulting, real estate, etc., has risen. However, this transition happened at very different rates in the two countries. This can be seen most clearly by comparing the employment by sector in both countries in blank. So this table here shows the agriculture, manufacturing, and services in France and in the United States from the year 1800 to 2012. And it asks us to find 2 years where the rates are very different for the two countries. The rate is the movement from agriculture to services. So A here says 1900 was employment by sector in 1950. So agriculture in France in 1900 was at 43%, and in 1950 it was at 32%, which is 11% decrease. Services in France were at 28% in 1900, and in 1950 it was at 35%, so a 7% increase. In the United States, agriculture in 1900 was at 41%, in 1950 a 14%, so this is a 27% decrease compared to France's 11% decrease. And services in 1900 was at 31%, and in 1950 was at 53%. So services increased by 21% compared to France's 7%, which is 3 times greater. So A definitely seems like it could be the correct choice. B. 1800 was employment by sector in 2012. So in 1800, agriculture in France was at 64%, 2012 it was at 3%, so 61% decrease. Services in France in 1800 was at 14%, 2012 76%, so this is a 62% increase. And agriculture in the US in 1800 was at 68%, in 2012 2%, so 66% decrease. Services in 1800 was at 13%, in 2012 it was at 80%, so this is 67% increase. So comparing these numbers, 61% increase in agriculture for France, and agriculture for US, 66% decrease. So these numbers look to be very similar, so B is not correct. C. 1900 was employment by sector in 2012. So in 1900, agriculture in France was at 43%, in 2012, 3%, so 40% decrease. Services were at 28% in 1900 for France, and 2012 it was at 76%, so this is a 48% increase. Agriculture in the US in the 1900s was at 41%, 2012 2%, so this is a 39% decrease. So comparing these numbers, you can see the 40% decrease in agriculture for France and a 39% decrease in agriculture for US between these 2 years means that their rates are very similar, which is not what we're looking for. D. 1800 with employment by sector in 1900. So in 1800, France was at 64%, 1900 it was at 43%. So this is a 21% decrease. Services in France, 14%, 1900 it was at 28%, so 14% increase. Agriculture in the US, 68% in 1800, and 1900 is at 41%. So this is a 27% decrease. France is at a 21% decrease. So this looks to be very similar. So this is also incorrect, meaning A is the correct answer choice.